Hey, is that folk music that you play there? What is that? How do you call that folk music?
I think it was Studs Terkel who asked Big Bill Brunzi, did he consider his blues music to be folk music? And Big Bill says, well, never heard no horse.
Don't hesitate. It could be your ticket to a new tomorrow.
If your soul gets lonesome, you need a helping hand. If your soul gets lonesome, you need a helping hand. Come here, my friend, sit right next to me, 'cause you know I'm gonna try and understand. If your soul gets lonesome, you need a helping hand. 'Cause it's a crazy world, yeah, getting crazier all the time. It's a crazy world, getting crazier all the time. Looking for love and kindness, sometimes lying and crying is all you find. 'Cause it's a crazy world and it's getting crazier all the time. Shadow and light, faster than sound. You put all your best fight and it still seems like you're barely holding ground. Woo-hoo. Faster than sound. You put up your best fight and it still seems like you're just barely holding ground. Woo-hoo. But all your troubles gonna be over some sweet day. Yeah. All your troubles gonna be over some sweet day. Look for answers in your heart. Don't be confused by what people do and say. Yeah. All your troubles gonna be over some sweet day. So if your soul gets lonesome, you need a helping hand. Soul gets lonesome, you need a helping hand. Come here, my friend, sit right next to me, 'cause you know I'm gonna try and understand. If your soul gets lonesome, you need a helping hand. If your soul gets lonesome, your soul gets lonesome, you need a helping hand. You got it.
All right.
Hey,
Yes.
thank you.
The show is Horses Sing None of It. My name is Ralph Litwin, and our guest today, I'd like to read a little bit about her before I actually introduce her. From a review in November '97 Dirty Linen magazine. First, she writes outstanding songs full of honesty and spirit, much in the vein of Kate Wolf. Second, she possesses a rich, full woman's voice. Finally, the lady is a badass slide guitar player.
You can say that, huh?
I just did. So welcome to the show, Karen
Thanks.
Almquist.
Thanks very
Nice to
much.
have you here.
Good to
Pleasure
be
to
here.
hear your music. So I didn't have to read all that stuff because they just heard it in person. But I'd say that some expert said that it was true.
Somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Supposedly.
Supposedly, right. I like the sound of it.
Great. So you're here all the way from California.
Northern California is my home base,
Mm-hmm.
near San Francisco and parts north of there. So.
But I gather from your bio that you have some roots in this area at some point in time?
Yeah, boy, it goes quite a ways back. I lived in Vermont in the mid-'70s for a period of time. That's
Mm-hmm.
where my first Froggy Bottom guitar was built, that many years ago. And it's a long line of frogs that I have.
A long
since
line
then.
of
long,
frogs.
Long line of frogs in my collection, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So where'd you grow up?
Well, I grew up all over, actually. My father was a military man in the Air Force, and I was born in Florida and spent some time in Hawaii and been in California since the early 70s. So I consider myself a Californian at this point. Yeah, but it's great to be back here. I love the East Coast. Yeah. In fact, I've noticed that the New England area much resembles Northern California. I don't know if you've ever been out, spent any time in California or
Yeah,
not.
I
but
have.
yeah, there's a real similarity in the feel and community, and a lot warmer back there.
Yeah, well, actually, at least in New Jersey, this winter we had the Northern California winter. It never, our first snow was just this week, practically.
Really? Wow. It's El Nino.
That's what it really reminded me of Northern California winter, while you guys were having all kinds of
Oh, we had a
rain
lot
and
of rain.
mudslides and everything else.
Yeah, this was a rough winter. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember a winter I visited some friends in Northern California where they had a similar, deluge, and we had to evacuate their house. They lived on the shore of the Russian River.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We're taking boats back and forth to the second floor.
You timed it just right.
Yeah, yeehaw.
The adventure. Yeah.
Well-
It's really great to be back here.
Good. You want to give us another tune?
Well, sure I will. Love to. This is another tune off my CD, which I'll boldly plug.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't know if I love you. Don't even know who you are sometimes. You walk away, I never could read between those lines. Which foot went first? Over the edge into the blue. Who fanned the thirst of this fiery love for you? Hearts in transit, hearts in ruin. Love gone too soon, hearts in transit. Your sad face in the half-lit moon. I heard the cry of the lonely. I took it all like my own. Clues you had shown me, still the journey's unknown. I felt the pang of hunger. I tried to ease it somehow. Eyes of the hunter like a creature out on the prowl. Hearts in transit, hearts in ruin. Love gone too soon, hearts in transit on your sad face. In the half-lit moon, half-lit moon. all. Hearts in transit, hearts on the wheel. How crazy this love makes you feel. Hearts in transit, your sad face in the half-lit moon. Half-lit moon. Half-lit moon.
Yeah. Great.
Thank you.
Well, you get a lot of sound out of that guitar with your bare fingers.
I do. It's a great guitar. I give the credit to the guitar, although I
I
do.
give some credit to your fingers.
This is a rosewood guitar, though, so it tends to really project volume even more than some other kinds. But yeah, I got a strong right hand, I've been told. Yeah. Oh, look at that.
But we just happen to have on hand a copy of Karen's new album, Tracking of Time. And we can also tell folks how to reach you by email.
Yeah.
And that would be a way for them to find out your touring schedule and how to get a hold of this album if they're interested.
actually-
and find out about your webpage or anything
Would you like
else.
me to do that right now?
They're showing it right on
Look
the
at
screen.
that.
Carquist
Carquist, yeah. Carquist at best.com.
at best.com. So that's
Yeah.
where you
Hey.
can find out more.
Great. Also, I do have a webpage, which is www.karenalmquist.com, which actually has my touring schedule and photos and bios and reviews and such.
Cool.
Yeah. Hey.
How,
Oh, go ahead.
well, yeah, this is actually an off-camera question, but how do you set up one of those web pages? Are you the webmaster? Or
No,
do you have
actually,
somebody who
I
knows how
hired
to-
somebody who,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that was beyond my talents. So it was easier to hire somebody.
Yeah, but that's cool to have a website
Yeah,
with
really.
your address, with your name right as the address.
Yeah, it's handy. I've
Yeah.
actually gotten mail from Europe, and people have tracked me down that way, so it's been pretty exciting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we had planned a number where I was going to play, but I'm just getting into listening to you. So if you
Oh.
want to pick out another one and do it.
Actually, I could do that, or either way, I could do that.
Okay, we're going to argue about which.
No, you play a song.
You want me to
Yeah,
do
they might change the tempo a little bit here.
it? Okay. You talked me into it.
That's a good thing.
I was at this place recently. I've visited a couple times. It's called the Option Institute in Sheffield, Massachusetts. And the guy who kind of founded the place also wrote a book called Happiness is a Choice, which is also the title of this tune. And if you viewers or you, Karen, are fascinated by the concept, pick up a copy of the book. It's in most bookstores. You can find it. Happiness is a Choice by Barry Kaufman. So Barry's not going to see this, but thanks anyway, man. Oh, it was difficult to believe until I found it could work for me. Listening to my inner voice, I found that happiness is a choice. Let me tell you now, it used to be my emotions would just control me. I felt so out of control until I remembered it was a role I learned when I was free. Back then it worked pretty good for me, till I decided to forget the fact that it was all just an act. Oh, it was difficult to believe until I found it could work for me. Listening to my inner voice, I found that happiness is a choice. Now for we who may feel unhappy, I write this song of hope. Though your troubles there may be many, I too used to feel I could not cope. We are each our own expert. We know our own tragedies plot. We know what makes us miserable. We can remember what we forgot. Oh, it was difficult to believe until I found it could work for me. Listening to my inner voice, I found that happiness is a choice. Take one more time. Give up on your search for happiness. I found that perseverance pays. We will each find our own answer, come to us in our own way. And when you're feeling better, it will help all those you know. So help yourself and help the world. Let the joyfulness flow. Oh, it was difficult to believe until I found it could work for me. Listening to my inner voice, I found that happiness is a choice. Happiness is a choice.
Calypso meets the blues guitar.
Yes,
great.
we got a calypso bone.
That's your song.
That's my song.
That's wonderful.
It's written about 5 years ago. The first time I went up to that place and got undepressed.
It shows.
Well, you want to tell us about what you want to do next?
Sure. Since I'm in this guitar tuning, hopefully in the tuning, after that calypso, I'm going to play another song off of the CD Tracking of Time. And this is a song called Land of Plenty that I wrote, it's probably about 4 or 5 years old too. So. I want to say that the CD is produced by Nina Gerber, and I'm really thrilled to have had the opportunity to work with her. She was a guitarist for Kate Wolf for years and years and has gone on to produce many CDs and did a really beautiful job.
I'll testify to that. It is a wonderful CD.
carry me back. Somebody tell me.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
You certainly do have a great voice.
Oh, I appreciate hearing that.
Busts right out of you.
Oh, thanks, thanks. That's nice to hear. I often get comments about my guitar work, and so it's...
Well, your guitar work is pretty spectacular, too.
It's nice to get compliments on my voice. Thanks very much. Yeah. So,
Yeah. What do we have? We have 5 minutes
5 minutes.
to do with what we like.
What would you like to do? I had an idea of going out on a kind of a blues jam, but 5 minutes might be a little long. And
Yeah. So what else do you want to tell us
Let's
about it? You
see.
want to stick a little one in there, or you want to?
Well, let's just see how this goes. Let's do this jam and
Okay.
see.
Well, I could fill up some time by asking you the question I'd like to, my standard question, which
Oh,
is,
please do.
how did you first get inspired to do what you do?
That's a very good question. I don't know. No, I'm sorry. Actually, I would say the first inclination I had that I wanted to be a musician was, I mentioned that I had lived in Hawaii, and I moved there when I was 10 years old or so, and up to that point I had never seen, I had seen a neighbor play like classical piano, but I'd never seen, like, I moved in next door to a Motown band. It was so cool, and they were, it was a full-on, saxophone and drums and bass, and they were doing, Marvin Gaye and the Four
Cool.
Tops, and it was really very moving to me. And I just felt the excitement and the energy of that live thing happening. And so I think that was the first time that I was very
Do you
inspired.
remember the name of the band still?
I don't know that they had a name, actually.
The band next door.
Yeah, the band next door, right. It was the Ayows. I remember Glenn and Renee Ayow. And, but the other pivotal point, I would say, was when I first heard, not long after that, I heard an album of Robert Johnson. And that was, just spun my head around, and it was like there was no turning back at that point.
Yeah, I can hear that influence in you.
Yeah, it's a pretty big influence. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I ever made a conscious decision that I would be a performer, but I got the bug for music and for playing. And, yeah.
Okay, well, now we have time to do our jam.
Speaking of Robert Johnson, I don't think that I'm embarrassed to say that this is You Got to Move, and I don't believe Robert Johnson did it, but it certainly is reminiscent of that Delta blues.
Got the feel.
All right. Thank you so much for playing with me, by the way.
My
I really
pleasure. Thanks for
appreciate
inviting me.
it. Thanks for inviting me.
Okay. Thanks for inviting each other.
You might be high, you might be low, you might be rich, you might be poor, but when the Lord gets ready, you got to move.